Well, speaking of like VPNs and streaming services, what an epic segue this is. Netflix. Come on, that was a great segue.
Yeah, it was absolutely.
Come on. Netflix unveils their plans
Ah.
to prevent password sharing. Right? This is. Someone said something about Netflix backpedaling, but I can't find it. Anyone find anything updated about Netflix maybe
No, I
backpedaling on this
haven't.
thing?
But I
Okay,
do
'cause
know
I
some of the
did spot that.
logistics of how it works. So I mean,
Well,
I think
so-
some people are kind of panicking a bit, but it is something that's kind of a pain in the butt at the same time.
So yes, obviously the thing about Netflix is that you have multiple accounts, so it makes sense that one person has it and you can kind of share it across different houses and stuff, right? Like there's no issue with that. I don't really understand what the issue is. We know it's all about money. They just want more money, and so obviously Netflix is clamping down on this, which I think is a huge mistake. Whilst they're also introducing like an ad-based subscription term as well. It's all in the effort to make money, because there was a big downturn when, regardless of what people said, but when basically a recession started to happen across the world, because of what happened the last few years, and I mean it was primarily because of that. And so they're like, right, password sharing's gone now. Let's force people to either pay more so they can have a password sharing account, which is what they do in like, I think it's like South America and things like that. Or you have to just, make your own new account. And so what they're doing is every 31 days, users must access the Netflix account using the Wi-Fi network at their principal location. How do you even know what the principal location is?
Oh, it's easy.
Or just the one which is always
through your
on,
ISP. Yeah, it's from your original ISP, wherever it originates from. That's what I'm saying. People, I think, are overthinking it. This basically means you just have to turn on your fucking Netflix at your house. That's all it really means.
Yeah,
and most people are already watching it there. The people that this is going to hurt the most are people who travel for a long period of time.
Yeah. I mean, over 31 days, right? Like that's it. It's done.
But
so currently,
as long as you're using the same things to access it, because you actually have registered things to use. Again, I don't see it being as much of a, that's part of it being as much of a problem as people.
Yeah, I don't see the problem here, to be honest. Yeah, okay,
Well, they
fine.
say
It's going to
this.
suck. It's going to suck for the 1,000 people worldwide who travel more than 31 days away from their home in a row. It's going to suck for those 1,000 people. For everyone else, that should be a complete non-issue.
Well, they say this anyway. So they say currently, devices that are not connected to the Netflix home or that seek to access an account outside of the subscriber's primary location for a lengthy period of time may need to be verified. So you could technically just verify a partner's
You just solved it for
phone,
those 1,000 people as well. I fail to see the problem here.
Well, no. Well, it's more just the fact that it's just more. I mean, it's capitalism, isn't it? It's more money hungry.
Yeah.
They're sort of clamping down.
I don't blame them.
It's quite expensive as it is, to be fair. Like, and it's not good.
To be fair, I don't blame
service.
them because you're right. Yeah, you can say that it is expensive, and I can see that point of view. But if you have a bunch of people where they get like one account, they share it across like 10 different households. Well, that's 10 potential.
That's what they're trying to do. Yeah,
Netflix lost out on. I don't blame them. I absolutely understand why they're doing this.
I was gonna say, if you want, you can allow me to be a little unpopular for a second, and I'll say, pay for your own fucking Netflix. It's not that expensive. A Netflix account is the same as a fucking Blu-ray. One Blu-ray or
How
DVD.
much is it,
it's $20 a month. It's roughly between 15 and 20 bucks a month. That's it. In the US. That's my point here. And sure, you share it with your couple of your family members, fine. But they're talking about you're sharing it with your friends, cousins, friend. This is the kind of shit that's getting to the point. It's like, look, it's not that fucking expensive. It's expensive, but it's not that expensive. And Netflix is the one thing that everybody has. And it's not going to really impede anybody's usage of it as long as they're within their main households and all that kind of business. What they're really just trying to stop is this, massive usage of it amongst, people just keep handing out the password to different people to the point where there's 30 fucking people on one account.
Okay, all right. Let's just stop. Let's just stop the discriminatory talk against my people. Mexican Americans share everything. All right. Yes, we're 10 to a house.
Paulie, that's what I was just gonna say. That's the difference. It doesn't matter.
A car. 15 to a car. Hey, you can join. Come on, I resemble that comment. Yes, we love sharing Netflix y todo, man. And now we got to do this thing. That's not fair, man. That's not right, man. Where's Mexican Iron Man?
Your immediate family in the household will be fine, Paulie.
I mean, not even that.
All your cousins are cool.
Well, we got the add-on to the houses in the back. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
See, they're all in the same facility using the Wi-Fi, so it don't matter.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, look, I think like at the end of the day, I think like I understand it. I get it. I don't massively blame them. It's a downturn. They're looking to accrue more money. This is off the back end of them also losing. It was like 2 million. It was 2 or 20 million subscribers. It was quite a big number.
There you have the real issue.
Yeah, but that was outside of their projections. Because people at the time said this is because of Russia. It wasn't. They'd already projected for that. This was an additional amount outside of what they'd already projected. So it was quite a lot. And I get it. They're obviously trying to recoup that. And as much as we all rag on Netflix, and they do, they produce some absolute shit. They really do. But they do produce some pretty decent stuff every now and then that is actually, worthwhile for the subscription. Wednesday, for instance, I'd say that was worth it for me for that, month that I had Netflix. More than worth it. More than worth my subscription fee.
Well, the kids all love it.
Oh no, honestly, Wednesday's pretty decent, man. Like, yeah. Wednesday's a pretty good show. I mean, Paulie will back me up on that. Wednesday's pretty decent. It's good. It's a good old time.
Well, the problem with this is that this is the one time I agree with Andre where, well, not that he's going around saying monopolies are amazing, but this is one time where he talks about a monopoly and it actually makes sense. Like, we never should have went away from Netflix. This is the studio's fault that this has all happened. And basically what they're doing is killing streaming in the process of it all. There was a story that was talking about this like a week or two ago that I sent to Andre, but like it's gotten to this point where, because that was the thing, was Netflix once was the central hub for everything, and it was lucrative for everybody at that point. Barely for Netflix, but very lucrative for the studios. Now Netflix is looking at it as they don't have the content that they used to have. That's what's killing their subscription base, right? And it's the same problem the studios are having, is they're now having to look at, well, we're going to have to start licensing our stuff out to the other subscribers. So everybody, basically every one of these services that you have now is going to become basically like another Netflix that's going to have all the other stuff on it, because they're going to have to start licensing stuff out to each other to make money. And it's going to start being a snake eating its own tail by the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know if Andre wants to add to that or subtract from it,
well,
but basically,
just imagine back in like the VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray days, right? You had like one disc, one Blu-ray, one DVD, or one VHS that would fit any player because you had like one standardized format. Now, what you're having right now in streaming is the equivalent of you need one player to play Universal discs. You need another player to play Disney discs.
Yeah.
You need a third player to play Paramount discs, so on and so forth. That is what streaming has done. It's just caused the audiences to just throw their heads up in the air and decide, hell with it, and I'm going to go with piracy. And the irony is that the thing that really kind of like took care of the piracy issue was Netflix. In that very limited window where Netflix was the go-to standard, where almost everyone had an agreement with Netflix, there was hardly any piracy. Piracy made a comeback the moment everyone and their mother wanted to make their own freaking streaming service and took their content away from Netflix, forcing consumers again to have a subscription to 20 different services to get everything. And then you're basically back to cable again.
I love that analogy, Andre. That is the perfect analogy for this whole mess. Like, yeah, it's like having a proprietary format for each studio now, and it's redonkulous.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like every single bloody month there was a time, where a new thing was coming out. It just became utterly ridiculous. And there is even a new thing coming out within a company itself that already had a streaming platform. I mean, you had DC, right? DC had its own streaming service, but they already had HBO. And it was like, what are you doing? And then they're like,
that made sense.
Like, we'll have HBO Max,
HBO Plus, HBO Minus, HBO Up, HBO Down, HBO Max, HBO Minimum. Like, you had so many different HBOs. It was completely pointless.
I think I know what happened there. Because we were talking about this the other night. I can't remember which show, but I kind of looked at it all, and I looked at it from the perspective of, because I think the plan always was to transform whatever streaming services HBO already had into HBO Max, which they did eventually. But what happened was, if you notice, is that was pre-Zasloff, and that was when everybody was still fighting with each other. And you notice we also had the CNN Plus thing that also got killed right away. I think it was those departments trying to prove that they are the big dog on the block. So they knew that those mini streaming services weren't going to last. But what they wanted to do is get a bigger piece of the pie once it all come down to it. And this is just my analogy of it all. I could be wrong, but Andre, from a business standpoint, do you understand what I'm saying? Or
oh yeah, absolutely.
So, like, if the DC service would have been a hit, or the CNN Plus would have been a hit, once HBO Max did suck everything up, then they would get a bigger piece of that pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear, eh? Dear, oh dear, ladies and gents.